What is up guys, Carl here. Today we're having a look at the 034 Motorsport's snub mount for your late Audi or Volkswagens. This is made for the 1.8 liter turbo. I think it fits the 2 liter as well. But it's a polyurethane bushing which is made for your snub mount, and that is to, I think, decrease the engine movement and vibrations when accelerating and decelerating. As you can see, it comes in quite a stiff polyurethane blend, and there are probably similar items. I think Power Flex has one in purple or so. So this is a regular item which you can get online, but I got mine from 034. And if you want to see the part number, there it is. Poly snub mount for your late Audi. Mine is a Audi A4 from 2003, and I also actually printed out the ECS installation instructions, but you can also get the installation instructions in your Haynes manual. So if we raise up the car, I put mine on ramps, but put yours on jack stands, whatever. And as you can see, you can work from the front, as I will do. A little mat down here. Hopefully I can get a good angle with this little bendy mount. So let's put some lights. You can hold it first. So as you can see up here, there's your drain plug for your oil pan. So I've removed the cover plate, your splash guard, and you see the oil pan, drain plug, and right up here is your mount. So if you check up here, you can see the previous original snub mount, and if I just do like this, you can see everything's just falling apart. I don't know what kind of material it's been made of, but it's been here since the car was made and it's falling apart. And there's also this large bracket around it. So to start off with, locate this little bracket which goes into your snub mount. You need to remove that. So first of all, let's see if I can put it over. Can I get a view for you? It should probably work. Hopefully it won't fall. There we go. So what you want to do is get a 6mm hex driver. I got mine with a adapter to a wrench, and then just loosen it. I'll loosen it before just to check it. Make sure I don't take too much time actually doing this. So of course these are tightened quite hard when you try to loosen them, but it isn't that bad. Then just loosen them. Should be the same size, all of the bolts. I think I can reach these, so let's just remove that. And there's the bolt. It's got some kind of thread locker on it from the start. So if you want, you can use that as well. Otherwise we're just going to torque it to. According to the ECS manual, I think it's 25 Newton meters once we're done. So just pull these guys apart. It is a bit fiddly, but you still have a lot of space to do all this. Whoop, and don't drop it. Pull those bolts out. And here you have your snub mount. So as you can see, some of them, some of them are rounded in the front, and of course that won't work with this type of snub mount because it's flat on the bottom. So make sure you get the correct one, and you could probably ask whoever sells them which one you should use. And up here you can see there isn't really anything. It's actually, I can put my fingers in here. There are some kits which comes with a new plate which is more, it's tighter around the snub mount, because as you can see, if we put this guy in here, it still has some room to move. There are some which just give you a few millimeters of space if you want that performance track fitment for your engine. As you can see, the engine isn't actually supported by this bracket. It's just to stop it moving a lot while accelerating or decelerating. If you're changing your engine mount, of course you have to support your engine. Don't just put something on your oil pan, because that will ruin everything. So I've actually gone ahead and removed some material which was stuck in here. But as you can see, the inside of the bracket is quite dirty. So what I'll do, I'll clean this up and remove this, in case I can't remove it by hand, which I think I actually can. If it's been on there for a long time, you might have to cut this to bits. But as you can see, it's compare that kind of compression to this kind of compression. You can see I can hardly move the polyurethane, while I can push this one with 2 fingers. So it's good and quite cheap replacement. I think the replacement original cost about the same. So as said, I'll clean up this part. Of course you don't really have to, but while you're in there, just do it. So I'll be back in a bit with a clean bracket. Okay, so now we cleaned up the bracket. So you can see it's not polished or painted or anything. You can do that if you have a show car or whatever, you want to have some bling bling, but remember, this underneath the car and you're going to have your splash guard, so no one ever going to see it. But just clean up all, if you have some leaks from your engine, it's been dripping down and collecting crud on the backside, just clean that up. So as you see in this snub mount, hopefully I can get a view. I don't think so, but there is a little notch in here inside the actual snub mount, and that needs to come in. It's about in the middle, so it'll come into the middle of your bracket. So you can see this little bridge in here, and that will hold everything together if the engine moves. So what you want to do, I think you need to use silicone grease, which is what I'm going to do. Don't just use any grease, because I think that eats up your polyurethane bushings. So it might take some force, so I'm going to do that off camera, but I believe put this to the front, don't quote me on that. So it needs to move around with that rounded edge in there. So I'll put this on and be back in a few. Once you fitted your bushing, be sure to check that it looks about right, and make sure that can't really do it from this angle, but make sure that it isn't poking out on this side, because I think if you push it far enough, you'll actually get that little rib I showed you on the other side. So as you can see, it's too large, what she said, so you can't really fit it in there. So what you have to do is remove this bracket. If you're installing the regular one, of course you can just pull that back in, because it should be about the same. What you want to do is loosen these. This is a 13mm socket. So there's 1, 2, 3 bolts here. And of course, if you're ordering with a new bracket, you will have to remove this anyway. So make sure don't drop your nuts and bolts. Put those to the side. It's come off quite easily with the correct tools. And I said before, it's quite roomy under here, so you should be able to reach quite well. Whoop! It's kind of dirty. As you can see, the snub mount will fit in this bracket. So, as with the bracket, this bracket, I'm going to clean up this and clean up where it was seated, just to have a fresh surface once we install it. But again, that's a while in there thing, you don't have to do it. So back in a bit. There we go, it's all cleaned up over here. And the bracket, this isn't as dirty as this bracket, because it's not affected by any engine oil and so on. So have it your correct way, and then put your mount in there, guide it in, wiggle, 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 and there we go. What you want to do then is take your bolts and your bracket here, so bolt and washer, and don't drop them, just tighten them up to make sure that it doesn't move anywhere. But as you probably will have noticed, in case of this, there's actually slotted pieces here. So as you can see, this can move, and that comes later when you need to center the bracket to your snub mount. So just do finger tight for now, so you can still move it. There we go. And then just, as they say, installation is reverse of removal. So what I'll do is put the rear bolts, I've just wiped them off as well. They haven't been contaminated in any way, but still, it's good to do. And if you want to, you could probably use some thread locker on them. I'm gonna remove the oil pan in not too long, so I'm not affected by that. Now I've installed the rear one. Can you see it? No, it's behind there. Yeah. The rear one, because that will make sure that I can adjust this one without too much hassle. So just push it up and make sure to. You can use this hole to center it with your eyes from this angle, and then just tighten your top bolt here. So let's get that little adapter hex thingy, my bud, to tighten it up a bit. Remember, just keep doing this finger tight to start off with, and make sure don't cross threads, because then if you ruin this thread, you will ruin the thread on your oil pan, and that's never fun. So screw them in hand tight, off them, shake it up a bit. Usually do that when installing. Make sure it's not snagged on anything from behind. Probably do that with left hand. So finger tighten. Don't drop it even though it's slippery. And once that is on, you can take your 13mm and again hand tighten these. And according to your manual, you want to get a torque wrench, put it on your 6mm, there we go. And sadly this one doesn't go up to 25, which is the rated spec, but I'm gonna do 20 and a bit more, and that should be about 25 hopefully, as long as I don't stand on it. So let's do like this, and let's do it a bit more. Let's hopefully that will be correct. And maybe I can remove this somehow. Of course, it never works when you have to. Shake it up a bit. That'll probably loosen it. There we go. Let's go for this one. And the same. Probably do like 20. And then this one to 20. And a bit more. That's probably about 30. As long as I don't go too far up, it shouldn't be that bad. And you want to make sure that these specifications are when the engine is cold, so I can hug this engine if I want. And don't do it in a cold end or warm engine, because of course metal expands and so on. So, there we go. So what you want to do now as the last step is to, of course, get that off. There we go. So your polyurethane mount is mounted right here on your bracket, but this one is still loose-ish. So what you want to do, according to at least ECS, is to have it loose like this. Start your engine, rev it a few times, and then tighten these to 25 Newton meters as well. So I'm gonna do that, but that's gonna be too loud for you guys. So that's basically the last step, and hopefully this will work out. Of course, your major vibration will probably be from your main engine mounts. This is just when accelerating and decelerating to stop the engine moving up and down. So thank you for checking out my little installation video for the 034 Motorsport's polyurethane snub mounts for your 1.8 liter Volkswagen or Audi engines. And I will see you next time.